Hi everybody. Today we're going to work on opening in both styles, but they're going to be separated. So we're going to talk about it in general and then work on the individual styles, whichever one you are in the classes for. So we've talked somewhat about our upper body structure, the body shape, that we want to have our head extended up, our shoulders down, our back open, sinking the chest, and bringing those hips forward so that they are underneath my shoulders. This is to distribute the mass of our body evenly front to back and side to side. So what we're going to work on first today is the lower body. We can think of Tai Chi, you can think of your body in three groups: lower body, middle, and upper. So our lower body, we talked a little bit about balance and root, and that we distribute the mass of our body over the soles of our feet. But if we work and connect through our quad, through this hip area, we can actually increase our base of support so that it is more than just the soles of our feet. It is the whole area between the feet and the feet on the floor. We want to do this by opening the quad. So this is done with an extension or a rounding. So you want to start rounding here and pushing this outward, kind of like you're riding a horse. You need to have this push outward from the inside. Our brain likes to contract, so if you think like that, the knees are going to pull and you're going to get tightness right here, your muscles. If you do that, you'll feel the tightness. This is a different way to use our muscles. We want to, from our center, push equally out on both sides to make this roundness. Now, I was watching a show years ago, and it was talking about the cathedral windows, especially like the Gothic style. They had that arch, and it was a big development in architecture because that arch allows for the windows to support the weight of the wall and the load from the roof. So it's a very strong structure. Master Young Jun will say that you want it like a capital A, but not with a point. You want to round it to it. So we have to start that up here, and starting here, and it goes all the way down the legs. You don't have to bring the lower back down. I have to lean forward to do this, so it's not quite right. But you want this opening here. You also want, with time, once you get the inner side, you want to be able to round and extend down the outside of that leg. So you have an inner and an outer, and your leg is kind of like in a case or a cast or a brace, so that your knees aren't going to wobble or come out from where they belong, so that you have the structure and you have stability. And we also need to develop that from the front and the back, so that you have it not just on the side, but all the way down. One of the best ways that I have found to do this is how we work our feet. And what we're going to do here is we're going to run a little test. So I want you to bring your heel up, like you're going to pick up the heel and you're going to step. And I want you to be aware and feel what happens in your leg. Probably a little tightness right here. Instead of lifting the heel, we want to push through the front of the foot to bring the heel up. So I want you to stand holding those hips level. You got to let that knee bend and that hip be loose, but push into the ball of the foot. And then feel the difference in your leg. Now this is very easy for people to do with their right leg. When you go and you push on your gas pedal, you don't lift the heel, you push through the ball. So you have developed this extension in that right leg. For most of us, a little bit more than the left. Now, if you work a clutch, you've got it in your left leg as well. But it's this idea that if I want to raise the heel, I push into the ball. If I want to raise the ball, I push into the heel. If I push into the heel, I'm going to have to move my weight back a little bit more. But this is going to develop an extension all the way down the leg, either the front or the back. And what this does, it creates a springiness, another term Master Young Jun uses. This should not be confused with spring in your step. That would be somebody bouncing. This is a springiness that is held, is contained, it's stored by keeping your hips down. And I have to bend my knee and hip more in order to do this. I don't want to push like this and get a springiness. The springiness is contained in those legs until I want to bring it out of there. So you keep your hips level when you bring your heel up or the ball of the foot. Okay. This we will start connecting in the next lesson or two with our swing. This helps us to connect the swing to our root. But for now, because we're just doing opening, this is to develop a springiness in a static posture without stepping, at least initially. So we want to be able to lift by bending those joints, but not locking them. Again, if you're going to bring up the ball of the foot, you probably have to push back and push back on one side, forward on the other, turning your body to get it to move and be able to keep your hips down. So that develops front and back. We also need this side to side. And this is next lesson in the 16 posture, because we are going to step to the side. And what we want to do when we're stepping there is a rotation in the hip. Okay, this one that we were doing, if I was standing up, it would be this one that we covered. So what I do is, you push your center over as I step, I'm going to extend down and push the inside of the ankle out, and then I'm going to rotate that leg and I'm going to push the outside of the ankle down. That is extending. Your brain likes to contract the outside of the ankle, put it down, and then contract the inside of the ankle to bring the inside of the foot down. You can see it doesn't quite get the edges of the foot on the ground. So when we want to do this, and you can practice this without doing wave hands like clouds, but you want to get centered and extend from here all the way down, opening the inside of the ankle, and then reverse it, this rotation at the top, and extend down the outside of the leg and extend that ankle down, so that puts the entire foot on the ground, but it doesn't have weight on it yet. So it is there and it's connected and all the edges are down, but I can still pick it up. But if you do it the way your brain likes to, I'm going to use the other side for a minute here. So if I do it the other way and I contract the ankle and I contract it down, my foot is not solid on the ground. Still don't have weight and I can still pick it up. But the edges, I don't feel like I'm connected, that I'm sinking, that the root is going beyond the floor. So we really want to work on developing this. This is where all your power comes from. This is what will help us to be able to coordinate our swing and coordinate the rest of the body movement. And it's very important that you do this with awareness. Don't try and put the hands and everything to it, especially in the beginning. Just practice extending down, extending the outside, just like this. Okay. And then we do the other side. We do some of this in warm-ups when we do big toe, little toe. So it's not a new movement, it's just mindfully working that ankle and through the quad correctly so that we can develop this. And when we have this, then we can extend through here, holding those legs in the structure that we need them to be with this roundness, without them going out, so that they're contained, but they have energy. And then if I can connect to the root, that's when I will be able to connect that to my swing and keep the knees in a line with my hips and my toes. Very important. And that we want to get this arch through the quad. Again, it's kind of like those cathedral. Not pointed like this, because then my knees are not quite in a line. I have to round up here to get this through here. Okay, and get that springiness. So the bottom part of our body is just as important as body shape when it comes to maintaining our root. If my knees are in a little bit, it doesn't matter. If my body shape is perfect, I'm still not rooted. You have to have both. And you have to kind of work on both at the same time, but you can't pull them out and work them in pieces. Okay? So I want you to stand there. I want you to extend your head up, shoulders down, expand the back, sink the chest, relax that lower back or waist to bring those hips under your shoulders, and now extend, opening into that quad, feeling almost like a seal on the bottoms of your feet, a suction going down, pressing onto the floor. I like the example, can't think of her name, did one of the lessons on footwork, and she talked about like a suction cup, you know, that you would stick something onto glass and you push against it. That push comes from a roundness up here, pushing and extending into the feet, kind of like you are pushing a suction cup down against the floor for your stability. Now that we have our body shape and structure in the torso and the legs, we want to try and combine this with our breath. Now, most of the time we don't try to match our breath with our movement, but it's very helpful, and this is one of the easier places to do it. So what I want you to do is not use your arms. We want to think of our torso as a pulley. So as I inhale and my arms start to rise, I'm expanding through the spine in the back, expanding it and taking it down. At the same time, I'm expanding upward on the front. I'm not sure if this is an inhale, exhale at the same time. It feels like it's getting closer to that, but you can just do an inhale up and an exhale down. But you might want to start working towards being able to inhale and expand out the back as you are exhaling and expanding upward in the front. So let's try that without our arms. So we want to align. Bring those hips forward, expand the back, sink the chest, shoulders down, head up. You can just let your arms fall to the side, or you can put them wherever are comfortable. Have that roundness in your quad, feeling those feet solid on the ground. And I want you to try and take that breath and make it feel like that pulley in your torso. So inhale. And exhale, feeling a wave come through your torso. So if I'm standing here like this, again, you have to have your alignment so those postural muscles are relaxed. If you're tense in any way, you're not going to be able to do this or even develop this. So we want to be aligned, quad open. So the energy is coming down and up, and that energy is going to combine with this chest and back movement to start this rotation to bring our arms up. Okay. So when we start Tai Chi, we would stand like this. Even when you get your alignment, we have to put our arms to the side. See, a lot of times it's just this. Okay. This doesn't have the opening up here, and it's not as crisp. And I don't know how this is going to come out on film, but if my arm is like this, I want to very mindfully rotate. So you can do it in one, a rotation like this one that we covered in the warm-ups, or you could make it two. So the front part is going to rotate out, and the back part is going to rotate in, so that I change the direction of those bones in my arm. Like we talked about changing the direction in our legs, we need to be able to rotate fully to come around and get our palms this way. We don't just turn at the wrist and put the palms there. Can you see that difference versus this? This puts that shoulder down to the side, and it keeps that middle finger right at the middle of your legs. And in addition, we don't want to let our hands or our elbows pull the shoulders out to create this opening. This also has to be done up here. So you can think of it as one push out from the torso. And again, it's happening here in that chest and the back. Or you can think of it as a dual. So pushing the arm out as you push back, and that separates the arms from the torso and gets us that opening. So I want you to get aligned, get your quad open, standing here, rotate, and bring those arms to the side. Can you feel a little bit there? As it develops, it'll almost feel like your shoulder blades are pushing together, and that push together will come up into your neck. So I want you to see if you can feel that. I'm going to turn this way this time. So I'm here, and I already am focused on keeping my head up, but as I rotate my arms and my back closes, my chest doesn't open, but it does expand a little bit to make those rotations. Feel it come up through the neck. So everybody give that a try. Having that quad open, you've got to be connected to your root and pushing down to bring that up to extend the head. And again, this creates an energy, a connectedness through the body when we can open our arms like this. And we want to keep that connectedness. Okay? So as we begin our form, kind of funny, you rotate this way and extend to get them open. As you start to inhale, you're going to reverse, and the front part is going to rotate in, and the back of those shoulders is going to rotate out until your palms are turned behind you. This is not turning your hands like this. It has a very different look. It's this whole body. This back opens, chest closes a little bit, and these arms fully rotate. And again, you have to have an extension here, keeping this opening between your arm and your torso. You can do it and keep them down. That's not right. It feels tight. So you want to extend and open. Feel larger, that your body is opening up. As we do this, we want to start our inhale. So we're going to just do a little bit. We're not going to take the arms all the way up, but I want you to rotate, put them to the side. Have your structure, quad opens, pressing into your feet. Start to inhale and go down your back as you rotate the arms. And again. And back, so that you continually feel a connection. Your arms aren't just hanging there. They are part of your body, and the movement of that breath is going to engage your arms. Now we're going to start bringing those arms up. So if we are here and we've started our inhale, we're not going to lead with our hands. That's what our brain likes to do. So it likes to take the hand and pull the arm up and then back down. In Tai Chi, we start from inner to outer. I like to just call it shoulder, elbow, wrist, but it's actually chest, and then it'll be waist. But from here, my palms are to the back, and my arms are rounded. I've got that opening in my armpits. I'm going to rotate in that shoulder. When we were doing the rotations for our warm-ups, the one here to the side where they go together, it's this one. Like this. And I'm doing this rotation from here, or starting it here, so that from here, the rotation in there, and I'm rotating that upper arm first, or chest, shoulder, upper arm. So let's practice that. So we want to get aligned, our body shape, have our quad open, extending into the floor, Rotate until your arms with your palms facing against your thighs and keeping that opening, but making it from the top, not elbows out or pushing out like this. Make it at the top. Begin that inhale and rotate, and then continue that inhale coming up, just rotating this upper part of the arm. Let's try it again. I'm going to face you. So from here, structure, body shape, rotate, arms are to the side, inhale, and come up. Now I stopped, and this is very important. I did not bring my wrist all the way to my shoulder level yet. I want us to try a little practice or a little exercise. If you're right-handed, take your left hand, vice versa, use your right. Put it on that shoulder. Have that opening, and either lead with the hand. Well, let's just do it leading with the hand. So I want you to lead with the hand, and you can feel it's going to pop up. That shoulder is going to pop up at about the point, or even before, you get your wrist level with your shoulder. So get it down here again. Again, you want it rotated completely. Try to get that rotation as deep as you can, rotating from the top of the arm and coming up. And you're still going to feel it bump up before you get your wrist fully where you want it to go. Now, Master Young Jun, he started young, he's flexible. He can keep those elbows fairly straight and not bring his shoulder up. But we bend our elbows to keep the shoulder down. So when I am coming up, and I'm not going to have my breath or all at this point, but I'm going to come up before that starts to bump and pull upward. I'm going to reverse this rotation in the shoulder and let that push my elbow down and bring the wrist up, so that if I can get to this point and then my shoulder is going to start bumping up, at this I will change, pushing down on that shoulder to push the elbow down to bring the wrist up. This is part of how we get that wave. And I'm always talking shoulder, elbow, wrist. So let's try that. Have our structure, our body shape. We have our quad opened. Start from prepare and begin. Again. Begin. And this will bring that elbow, wrist where it needs to go with this bend, but you cause the bend with your shoulder. Now we've talked on other postures about using your elbow and your wrist as a lever. Same idea here. So when my elbow goes down, if I'm thinking of pushing it from here, the push starts here, but it pushes the top down. At the same time, if you can, you create a push up through the wrist. This uses the forearm as a lever. So if it was my brain leading, it just pulls like this. So what we want to do is create this yin-yang. My shoulder's coming up there. Let me turn my head. So they coordinate up and down. Again, that's a little bit of a higher level. It's up to you whether you want to start adding that. But it is a dual movement. It isn't just a pull with one point. It is a push down on the one, up on the other. We do the same thing with ward off. And we've done it, I think, in wave hands like clouds. Out. Like this. We do wave hands like clouds. So if we're over to the side, this is how we're going to get up to the top. And this rotation has started this elbow down. So I'm rotating the shoulder down to push the elbow down. So I've already started the rotation for the downward movement, because it is also from here, I'm up here, I'm going to start rotating shoulder, push the elbow down, and then wrist. So it's from here and down. I'm going to coordinate from inner to outer again. So let's try and practice here. So I want you to get your structure. Basically, let's prepare. So we get our body shape, quad open, extending into those feet, and extend the head up, and then prepare, rotating, getting those arms to the side, and then that dual rotation, turning those arms fully as we start that inhale, and rotating shoulders up until you have to start back down so the elbows bend and the wrists come up, and then continuing that shoulder or chest rotation down, elbows down, and stopping with your hands in front of your body. We don't want to get them too far back so the elbows come behind us, so they stay in the front. If you take your elbows back like this, your chest opens and you lose your connection. So let's do that, thinking our way through it, using our mind to guide our body. So prepare, opening, prepare, opening, one more time, prepare, opening, now one more level. If you want to go into this when we're setting our wrist. When we come down here to finish, our brain likes to pull from the fingers or the knuckles here and pull up to pull the wrist into position. That is a contraction. That's not the way we want to do it. We want to be doing it with our forearm or extending all the way down the arm. So if I'm going to do a downward palm like this, I am going to extend on the inside or the underneath part of that arm, pushing that wrist down. Not pulling with a contraction and tightening it. This will keep that joint more open, allows for greater blood flow, and that is how we're going to set that wrist when we come down. We don't want to pull up on the palm unless we're doing it in a coordinated manner. So, just like elbow and wrist can have a coordination, you can have a coordination between here and your knuckles or your fingertips. So as I extend downward, I can push upward on those knuckles, keeping that joint even more open. But if you just want to start with extend the wrist down, and then you can add this, where then you coordinate this upward push with this. Well, it's down here, it's extending down, and then this will push upward underneath here on those, underneath your knuckles. And then you can actually feel it and take it all the way out to your fingertips with practice. So it is kind of a movement like this in the hand. It's a flexibility I think we tend to lose, and then it opens, allows all that blood flow to go through. Now that is something that I want us to practice on. You can do this lying down. Opening is very easy to do lying down, and it will be easier, especially if you don't have your body shape to a point yet or your quad open enough. If you're lying down, your postural muscles will be relaxed, and you need that relaxation, that deep, deep relaxation to be able to build these inner rotations where I can coordinate this opening and closing of my arms, or rotating through my chest and my back to begin this movement upward. But we want to work on getting that coordination. The next piece that I would say is very important, that you reach an awareness where you don't let this come up. So it comes up, and then your elbows start to go down. This coordination, so you can't lose the connection at this point. I see that happening sometimes in class. People be connected until they get up to about here, and then it's lost because their shoulder has come up. So be very careful to keep it down by starting this downward rotation, or this change in the direction of the rotation, to push the elbow down, wrist up at the top. The other stuff, kind of gravy, want to work on them, feel like you're at that point. I really think this is a wonderful posture because you don't have to worry so much about your lower body. You know, everything is set. It's a static pretty much from here down, except for that extension into the legs. It gives us a little bit more opportunity to focus on arm movements. So that'll take care of it for this week. Everybody stay healthy.